Let's do constructions, exercise 22A. And this is found on page number 237. Question 1. Using the ruler and compasses, construct the following angles, and the first one is 30 degrees. Now, whenever you're asked to construct angles, you have to think of how to do it. Now, how are we going to construct a 30-degree angle using only a ruler and a compass? Now, we can first construct a 60-degree angle. This is something you've learned earlier. So, construct a 60-degree angle first and then bisect that angle. Bisect that 60-degree angle. What is the meaning of bisecting? Dividing into two equal halves. So what is half of 60? 30. So the first step is we construct a 60-degree angle, then we'll bisect it and get 30 degrees. So let's begin. First step is draw a line segment OA of any suitable length. So any suitable length you can take, draw a line segment, mark it OA. Then with O as the center, that means you're going to make this as a center. That means you're going to place the pointed end of your compass here and you're going to draw an arc and any suitable radius. That means on your compass you can take any measurement. You don't have to take any particular measurement. That is going to be the radius. So draw an arc that will cut OA at B. So we have drawn the arc. It is cutting OA and this point is B. Now with the same radius on your compass, so don't change the measurement on your compass. Place it at B. So this time B is going to be the center. And cut the first arc at C. That means B is going to be the center and we're going to cut this arc. So let's cut that. So we have cut it. We're going to name it C. Cut the first arc at C. Now join OC. Join O and C. This point OC and extend the line up to D. So now you have got a 60-degree angle. So this angle that we have got is 60 degree. Why have I used a dotted line? Because 60 degree is not what we want. We want a 30-degree angle. So the 60-degree angle will be a dotted line. So we'll mark it D. So we've extended that line. We have projected it up to D. Now angle AOD. This angle is 60 degrees. But we want 30 degrees. So what are we going to do? Now we are going to bisect this 60-degree angle. We're going to bisect it. That means we're going to divide it into two parts so that each part will be 30 degrees each. Two equal parts. For that, we have to place the compass on B. This time B is the center and C is the center. So first place it at B, draw an arc, place it at C and cut that arc. So first we're going to place it at B and draw an arc. Now place your pointed end of the compass at C and cut that arc. So can you see? We place it at B and C and we have cut the arc. Now the two arcs will cut at E. So this point where the two arcs meet, we'll name it E. Now join OE. Join OE. So when you join OE, now here what you have, AOE. This part is now 30 degrees and this other part is also 30 degrees. So we only want this part. So here we have angle EOD. This is 30 degrees and angle AOE. This is also equal to 30 degrees. So we've got 30-degree angle we have constructed. So this we can mark this angle as 30 degrees. Question 2, 15 degrees. Now how do we construct an angle of 15 degrees? First we construct an angle of 30 degrees by following the steps that we had in the first question. And then we have to bisect this. Okay, so let's begin now. So construct an angle of 30 degrees. So we have constructed at a point O on the line segment OA. So this is 30 degrees. Now we have to bisect angle AOD. Bisecting means dividing angle OAD into AOD into two equal halves so that each half will be 15 degrees. Right now this is 30 degrees divided into two halves. So let's begin. So first step, with O as the center. Whenever we speak about this with O as the center, that means we're placing a compass at O. We will draw an arc of any suitable length that will cut OA at B. OA at B and OD, that is this line OD at C. So we drew an arc so that we have B and C now. So now what do we do? This time you're going to take B as a center and C also as a center, and you're going to draw two arcs. But this time remember the radius has to be more than half of this. Okay, so the radius has to be bigger this time. So change the measurement on your compass, make it more. So more than half of this. Now draw an arc. So keeping it at B, draw an arc. Now keep it at C and again same way draw an arc here. Okay, so keep it at B and draw an arc. Keep it at C and draw an arc, and both these arcs will meet at E. Now we have to join O and E. So when we join O and E, angle AOE, this part is 15 degrees, the other part is also 15 degrees, but we need only this, so let's write this. So this part is 15 degrees. So we have constructed an angle of 15 degrees. So here it's this dotted line here shows that that's 30 degrees, but we don't need that. We need only this. So this is 15 degrees. Now we're going to construct an angle of 75 degrees. Now you have to think what are the combinations? How to get 75? One is, now suppose you say 60 degrees plus 15 degrees will give you 75 degrees, isn't it? So in that case, first you construct 60 degrees, and after 60 degrees you have to construct 15 degrees on the other side of 60 degrees. Then you will get 75. Another way is 90 degrees, construct 90 degrees and take away 15 degrees from it, you will get 75 degrees. So you can use one of these methods. So either you construct 60 degrees first or you construct 90 degrees first. So let's begin this one. So let's start by first constructing one of these angles. So let's begin. So here we are saying constructing an angle of 90 degrees. Okay, so we're going to construct an angle of 90 degrees at a point O on the line segment OA. So we have a line segment, we have OA, we're going to construct 90 degrees. Now how do we construct 90 degrees? We draw an arc, isn't it, first? And then we name this point C where it meets OA. From C we draw an arc, we name it P. From P we draw another arc, we name it Q. And now keeping P as a center, we draw an arc. Keeping Q as a center, we cut the arc and then we name it and then we join the line. What do we have now? We have 90 degrees. So 90-degree construction is already done. That's why I went through it quickly now. I've not shown the steps because all of you know how to construct 90 degrees. Now this is 90 degrees. Now at the same point O, draw an angle AOE equals 60 degrees. So at this point we're going to draw 60 degrees also. Now this first arc is 60 degrees. The second arc is 120 degrees. So in between you have 90 degrees. So now at this point we're going to draw AOE equals 60 degrees. So now we have 60. Now 60 plus 15. Okay, now 15 we have to construct here. Now this is 90 degrees, this is 60 degrees. 90 minus 60 is how much? So 90 minus 60 is 30 degrees. That means this portion, the angle is 30 degrees. So how do I get only 15? I have to divide this by 2. I have to bisect this angle. When I bisect this angle, I will get 15. Okay, so now I need to get 15 degrees now. So let's work on that. So how do we do that part? So here we are going to bisect the angle. We have the first two steps. The next step is bisect DOE. So DOE, this part we are going to bisect. So bisecting means we need to be careful. Place the compass at P and Q and draw arcs of equal radii. Remember, it has to be more than half of this. Okay, so whenever you bisect, it has to be more than half of this radius. So keep it at P, draw an arc, keep it at Q, cut that arc. Now here we have a point here where the two arcs are meeting and we'll name it R. Now join OR. O and R, join it. So when you join, you have this angle now. So here we have AOR. This part is 60 degrees, this part is 15. 60 plus 15 is 75. Or you can say 90 minus 15 is 75. So join OR, angle AOR. AOR is 75 degrees. That means this whole portion that you can see here is 75 degrees. So we have got 75 degrees. We have constructed an angle of 75 degrees. So here you need to think carefully. So you have to construct 75. So what did we do? First we constructed 90. Then we constructed 60. Now the space between 90 and 60 is 30 degrees, which we bisected. So now when you add up 60 plus 15, you get 75. So how did we get this? We added up 60 degrees plus the 15 degrees and we got 75 degrees. So here it's written clearly. I want you to follow this. Angle AOE plus angle EOR, that is 60 degrees plus 15 degrees will give us 75 degrees. Now the next thing is we have to construct an angle of 180 degrees. Remember what kind of an angle a 180 degree angle is? It is a straight angle. It's just a straight line. Okay, so we are going to construct that now. So let's begin by saying draw a line segment again of any suitable length O and A. Now with O as a center, draw an arc. This is the basic step. Okay, for all constructions, we have to have this step. Draw the line, draw this arc. And then it cuts at P. Now, again with the same radius on P, cut an arc at Q. Okay, so we have Q there. Again, keep it at Q and cut another arc at R. So here we have 60, we have 120. Okay, and then now place it on R and cut another arc at S. So here we've cut another arc. So what did we do? We drew this line, we drew one main arc which is the basis for all, which is a standard for all constructions. Now keep it at P, draw an arc. This will be 60 degrees. Keep it there and then draw one more arc. This will be 120 degrees. Keep it there and draw one more arc. This will be 180 degrees and we've named that part S. Now join OS, this point, join OS, can you see that? And extend it up to B. So now what do we have? Angle AOB. So that is an angle. Though it looks like a straight line, it is an angle. You saw how we formed that angle, isn't it? Angle AOB is equal to 180 degrees. So I hope you have understood. Go through it carefully. So the final construction here, we've got 180 degrees. Question 5. Now we have to construct an angle of 165 degrees. Now how do we do that? Now what is the combination of angles that will give us 165 degrees? Now if I take 150 and add 15 to it, I will get 165 degrees, isn't it? That means I must construct an angle of 150. Now I need to get this 15. How will I get this 15? Now if I construct an angle of 180 degrees, and I take away an angle of 150 from it, what will I get? 30 degrees. And if I bisect 30 degrees, I will get 15, isn't it? So I have to construct an angle of 180 degrees. Then I have to construct an angle of 150 degrees, bisect that 30 degrees and get 15 degrees. So let's do that. Construct an angle of 180 degrees at a point O on the line segment OA. So we have a line segment OA. We're going to construct an angle of 180 degrees at this point, and all of you know the construction. We just did the construction, follow all the steps and get 180 degrees. So how do we do that? We have an arc, then we mark that point P, then cut another arc, mark it Q, cut one more arc, mark it R, and then we have one more point. And now from O to S you have to join and then you will get this. So this is 180 degrees. So first step is you construct 180 degrees following all the steps. Now the next thing we have to do is construct an angle of 150 degrees at this point O. So here we are going to construct an angle of 150 degrees. Now what are the steps? That you haven't learned, isn't it? So what are the steps? Now we already have P, Q, R and S. Now remember P will be 0 degrees Q will be 60. This point is 60. This is 120 and this is 180. All these points are referring to one angle. So 0, 60, 120, 180. So where will 150 be? It will be between 120 and 180, isn't it? So we're going to learn to construct that now. So remember, 150 is going to be between R and S. So somewhere here it's going to be there. So what are the steps for that? First step, place the compass on R and S and draw arcs of equal radii. So take R, take S, draw two arcs. So one arc from R, another arc from S. Now the two arcs will cut at a point T. So at that point T they have cut. Now join OT, join O and T. So when you join OT, what do you get here? You get angle AOT is equal to 150 degrees. That means this portion, this whole portion is 150 degrees. What I have marked earlier is 180 degrees, which we don't need now. Now we've got 150 degrees. But remember, we need 165. 165 is what we need. But now we've got 180 here and 150 here. Now the difference between 180 and 150 is how much? 180 degrees minus 150 degrees is 30 degrees. That means this portion is 30 degrees. This portion is 30. So I have 150 here. If I add up this 30, I will get 180. But I don't need 30. I need only 15. That means this portion I have to bisect. That means I have to divide it into two equal halves. Then if I add that and this, I will get 165. So that is the next step. We're going to bisect angle AOT. So let's do that. So that is 150 degrees. And now we are bisecting. So now what do we have here? We have 150 degrees. So let's write that. So this is already 150. And this side is 30. And we are going to bisect it. Bisecting means dividing 30 into two equal halves. So bisect TOB. That is TOB, and that is 30 degrees. We're going to bisect it. So bisecting, remember how we have to do? We have to place our compass here and take a radius which is more than half of this and draw arcs of equal radii. So we have one arc and then we have one more arc. Now the two arcs will cut each other at the point E. Okay, now join OE. So O is here and E is here. Join OE. We have a line drawn. Now angle AOE has now become 165. Now how did that happen? This 30 degrees has now become 15 each. On both sides there will be 15. There will be 15 here and there will be 15 here. It's divided into two, isn't it? And here we have 150. So on this side we have 150. When we add up this also, it becomes 165. We are not going to add this. Okay, we don't need that. We only want the other portion. So 150 plus 15 will give us 165. So angle AOE, that whole angle is equal to 165. So that is the angle, the pink one. That is 165 degrees. Now, how did we get that? Angle AOT. AOT is 150 degrees. Then EOT is 15 degrees. When you add up both, you get 165. So that's how we got 165 degrees. Next one is to construct an angle of 22.5. Now, how do we get 22.5? You'll have to think of all the angles that you know and see whether half of any of those angles will give us 22.5. If you take 30, half of 30 is 15, but we need 22.5. So what is the other angle higher than 30 that you know? So we have constructed angles like this. We have started from 15 degrees, then we have 30 degrees, 45 we have done, then we did 60, 75, 90, and we have gone beyond this. Now we are looking at 30. Okay, half of 30 is 15, but here they want 22.5. Now what is half of 45? Half of 45 is 22.5 degrees. That means we have to construct an angle of 45 degrees and then bisect it. Divide it into 2 and you'll get 25.5. Now how do we get 45 degrees? We have to get 90 degrees first and then bisect the 90 degrees. You will get two 45-degree angles. Bisect one of those, you will get 22.5. So let's begin. First step, construct an angle of 90 degrees at a point O on the line segment OA. So here at this point here, we have to construct an angle of 90 degrees. So follow all the steps of construction. You have the main arc and then you have to cut from here. You have the different steps you have. You have to cut 60 degrees. You have to cut 120 and then two more arcs here and then join. So that's how you get 90 degrees. Now, so once you get 90 degrees, you have to, this angle AOE is 90, then we have to bisect this angle AOE. That means we have to divide it into 2. So when you divide it to 2 equal halves, this side will be 45 and this side also will be 45. So we have to bisect that. Even for bisecting, we have learnt it earlier. Place your compass here, draw one arc, then place your compass here, draw another arc. The two arcs will cut, join O and the other point where the two arcs have met, you will get 45 degrees. We are not going to go through all those steps. You have to follow those steps and get your 45 degrees. So now that we have got 45 degrees, so here AOB is 45, the other side is also 45. So we're going to make use of this side because we are going to bisect this portion. We are going to bisect this portion which has 45 degrees. That means we're going to divide this into 2 so that we'll get 22.5 degrees. So we're going to bisect angle AOE. So right now angle AOB is 45 degrees. So now we are taking only that. We are taking only angle AOB and we are going to bisect it. So when you bisect, remember the rules to follow. So first thing is place your compass on P and Q and draw arcs. Okay, we're going to draw two arcs. So draw one arc from P, draw another arc from Q, and the two arcs will cut each other at R. Okay, so the point where the two arcs are meeting is R. Now join OR. You've joined OR, isn't it? Now angle AOR is 22.5. So this portion is now 22.5. Half of 45. So that is 22. 22.5 degrees. So this is the portion that is 22.5. So we've got that here. So remember, first you have to construct an angle of 90 degrees. Then you have to bisect it and get 45. Then you have to bisect 45 degrees like this. The steps are here and get 22.5. So angle AOR is 22.5 degrees. Now the next one is we have to construct an angle of 37.5. Now here also half of something is 37.5. Like I said, what are all the angles we have learned? 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90, and now we also learned half of this, that is 22.5. We've learned that. Now this is 37.5, so it's more than 22.5. So let's look at all the angles to the right. What is half of 60? Half of 60 is 30. What is half of 75? Half of 75 is 37.5. Okay, so this is the angle. Half of 75 is 37.5 degrees. That means we have to construct an angle of 75 degrees. So all of you know the construction of an angle of 75 degrees. So once you get 75 degrees, you have to bisect it and then you will get half of 75 degrees. So let's begin that. So construct an angle of 75 degrees at a point O on the line segment OA. So follow all the steps to get your 75 degrees. You draw the arc, you have 90 degrees, you have 60 degrees, and 75 degrees will come in between 60 and 90, isn't it? So first you get 60, then you bisect this portion. 90. Now here you have 90. I'm just writing the numbers on top for you to understand. And this is 60. When you do 90 minus 60, what do you get? 30. So when you bisect 30, what do you get? 15. Isn't it? Half of 30 is 15. So you add 60 and 15 here. 15 plus 60 and you get 75 degrees. So here we've got 75 degrees here. So let's write that here. So this portion is 75 degrees. Okay, so this whole angle here is 75 degrees. The number is written on top just for you to understand it better. So now we have 75 degrees. We have to bisect this 75. So to get 75, first you need to get 60, then you need to get 90 and bisect the space in between and you'll get 75. Now we are going to bisect 75. So right now we have only a 75-degree angle here. We are going to bisect it. So how do we do it? Place the compass here and draw two arcs. So let's draw the two arcs, one arc and the other arc. And the two arcs will cut each other at R. So name that point R. Join OR, OR. Join it. So when you join, the angle that you get here is 37.5. This side is 37.5 and that side is 37.5 because this line has cut the 75 degrees into two equal halves. So now angle AOR is equal to 37.5 degrees. So here you can write that 37.5 degrees. So here we have drawn it and shown it again. So this is the portion that is 37.5 degrees. That is 67.5 degrees. Now how do we get 67.5 degrees? So here we have all the angles. Now 15, then we have 30, then we have 45. Now we learned half of 45 is 22.5. Then we did 60. Half of 60 is 30, that we already know. Now 75, half of 75 is 37.5. We learned this construction also. Then 90, half of 90 is 45. Then 120, half of that is 60. Then 135. Now half of 135 is 67.5. Now how do we know that? Let's add up 67.5 twice. 5 plus 5 is 10, carry 1. 7 plus 7 is 14, plus 1 is 15, carry 1. 6 plus 6 is 12, plus 1, 13. So we get 135. So half of 135 is 67.5. So that is what we need to construct. So first we have to construct an angle of 135 degrees. So let's begin. Construction of an angle of 135 degrees at a point O on the line segment AC. So here we have a line segment AC. Now we are going to construct at a point O. Here we are going to construct 135 degrees. Now how do we get 135 degrees? So let's see. One is you have to get a 90-degree angle. Now if I have 90 degrees and if I bisect that 90 degrees on the left side, so 90 degrees, you have to follow all the steps and reach 90 degrees. Then bisect it on the other side. And when you bisect, you get 45 degrees. So this portion is 45. This will be 45. This will be 90. So 90 plus 45 is equal to 135 degrees. So 90 degrees you get. Then you add a 45 degrees. After bisecting 90 and when you add up both you get 135 degrees. That means this whole angle, this whole thing will be 135 degrees. So if we bisect 135 we'll get 67.5. So now what do we have to do? We have to bisect. Okay, so first remember this, how we got 135. So now the next thing to do is bisect this 135 degrees. Only that we are keeping, we have removed all the others. We have only 135 degrees. Now we are going to get bisect it and get 67.5. How do we do that? Draw the arc and then you have P there. P and Q, the 2 points where the arc is touching the line AC. Then place the compass on P and S. Okay, so here we have S. Now place your compass at P, place your compass at S and draw two arcs. So let's do that. Let's draw two arcs. So one arc is there, the other arc is there. Now the two arcs will cut at R. Join OR. So now you have joined OR, AOR. Okay, so AOR will now be equal to 67.5. So here what you have got is 67.5. So remember how to get this. First you have to construct an angle of 135 degrees. How do you do that? You do 90 plus 45. Construct 90 first, then bisect 90 on the other side. So 90 plus 45, you get 135. Once you get 135, you do normal bisection and then you'll get half of it. Now this side is 67.5, that side is also 67.5, but we're only looking at this. So this whole thing is 165 degrees. It's 135 degrees and half of that, the red portion that you can see, is 67.5 degrees. So we will stop with this for now, children. In the next video, we will continue with the remaining questions. Thank you, children.